All right, going live. Let's see. Faye, see if you are able to go live. It's not letting me. I'm clicking go live, but it's not letting me.
It's live now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another $1 Million Coffee Hour. We have a treat for you all today. We're actually going to be diving in and talking about money. That's right, money and how you can get funded for your real estate deals. We're going to be bringing on a friend of mine, Mitch Messer. We met a couple years ago, and he has been doing great things with building his platform to bring money to real estate deals, bringing the transaction together. So he's going to be sharing some of the details, just re-baselining everyone for those who may be new to private investors and the use for private capital. Uh, this is a critical piece, especially now in a high interest rate environment where we are, where more lenders are requiring more equity up front, more cash capital as a down payment, as well as just experience level that, from someone that's new and trying to transition into real estate investing. I've been there. It may be hard. And as a matter of fact, I know it is hard a lot of times if you don't have the right lender, if you don't have experience, you don't have any deals under your belt. I can remember my story with my very first deal that I easily had 5 or 6 no's from the traditional lending ones, the traditional hard money lenders. And I ended up getting a local hard money lender. This is back June of 2015. It's actually 10 years to this month when my wife and I, we bought our first fix and flip property in Alexandria, Virginia, and got a whole lot of no's, but I was determined. I was persistent. I didn't take no for an answer, and I found a local hard money guy from the web, from Google, just going through. And I took it to the money guys at my local RIA meetup. They couldn't fund me. And I went to and found a local real estate investor here in the DC area, and he was willing to fund the deal. It was unique because it was an auction property. We couldn't access the inside, and so for a lot of, especially back 2015, a lot of companies, and still some today, require you to be able to have a walkthrough appraisal. So they want to send someone from their team. Mitch is going to share with their process and how streamlined it is today, even for you as a newbie, someone just starting off on your real estate journey, how they have it streamlined and they can move at the speed of your deal to get you done. And then it really becomes fast once you get build that relationship and get past that first deal. But I'm here to tell you, I'm a living witness that being able to have access to capital when you need it is a game changer to building your portfolio, with scaling your wealth and accelerating that journey in real estate. So I'm super excited about today's conversation. And so with that, I bring Mitch up uh, and let him introduce himself, and then let's dive into the conversation. What's going on, Mitch? How are you today?
Hey, Johnny, I'm doing fine. It is early morning here. It's just after 7 o'clock here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And I see my glasses are reflecting the screen, so I apologize for that. But hey, I'm old. I need glasses to see, so I got to do what I got to do. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to your team, and I'm eager to see if we can help folks bridge the gap and access private capital. It is a game changer, as you point out, and yeah, I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And I think, as I already stated, just this is critical for anybody that's serious about, because some people they're infatuated with real estate, but they're not serious about real estate. They haven't burned the bridges and gone all in on real estate. But those who are serious about doing a deal, doing their first deal, or even having an alternative to doing more deals in 2025, I think this conversation is going to be definitely going to be relevant to them. So yeah, I'll turn it over to you to kind of share a little bit and kind of go through the process of real estate investment. I think educate them up front just about what you're looking for, and then kind of how the process goes on the back end if you want to, and then we'll open it up for questions as well too.
Awesome, awesome. So I can't see who's in the room, but I believe I do see the ability to chat. So I'm gonna ask if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, folks who are here in the chat, just answer this question. I'm trying to get a sense for the experience level. If you consider yourself an experienced investor, give me an H for high. If you consider yourself in the medium level, give me an M for medium. And if you think you're just getting started and you want to express that, give me an L for low. Let's see who we've got. And
okay, we got a couple guys. Let me bring a few people up on stage. I see
okay.
a couple cameras on. I see Chris and Earl. You guys good coming up?
Okay, I see Leslie and Christine
Let's
and
go.
Lawanda.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so we have a few people.
Okay,
And
cool.
also, and I'll gauge we have a few, we're streaming on YouTube and LinkedIn. So we always kind of, and Facebook, we get some comments there too that we'll facilitate.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let me first say hello. I'm happy to be here. My name is Mitch Messer. My origins are pretty straightforward. My wife and I got started real estate investing in 1999, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, in Atlanta, doing buy and hold investments, typically lease purchase investments in the Atlanta market. And our biggest claim to fame is that from then until now, we have never, ever gone to a bank to borrow money to do an investment deal. It's either been private money or it's been seller financing or some combination of the two, but we don't do banks. And so we have access at this point somewhere in the realm of $10 million of private money from private lenders that we've worked with over the years. So I know how powerful private money can be when you're trying to scale your operation. And about 4 years ago, I started working with other investors, we call them operators, to help them get access to this. I just lost my headset. Hold on one second. Let me switch over to.
Are you able to hear me? We can still hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, my headset just crapped out. Working with other individuals to try to get them access to the same kind of private capital that we've had access to. And my experience has been that people have some misconceptions about how private money works, how it can be accessed. And so I want to take opportunities like this to dispel some of those myths about private money so that people can go into this with their eyes open and they don't get scammed. I think the thing that's heartbreaking for me is I see people legitimately trying to grow their business, to scale their operation, and they reach out and they ask for private money, and they are preyed upon by the tens of thousands of scammers out there who will take their money without blinking an eye. And we're not talking 10, 20 bucks. We're talking 3, 4, 5,000 bucks worth of money, if not more. And it's heartbreaking to me because these people legitimately wanted to scale their business and they're being taken advantage of. So I want to start by talking about what private lending is and what it is not. And if I can quickly teach everybody on this call who doesn't know yet how to make themselves scam proof, I will consider this morning a success. So let's talk about what private money is. For me, I divide access to capital into 3 categories. Banks, I think everybody understands how banks work. Hard money lenders, people understand how hard money lenders work. We'll talk about all 3 of these in a minute. And then private lenders. Banks are pretty straightforward. It's an institution. It's designed for lending and borrowing. We get that. We go to those banks with our hat in our hands and we say, please, can I have some money? And if they like us and the weather is right and everything lines up, they'll give us money. Okay, great. That's a bank. A hard money lender is a non-bank financial institution in the business of lending money. So it's
I think we lost. Did we lose him?
Yeah,
Or
it's
did I go
frozen.
drop? Got a little technology and the internet. See, he froze up. Cool. We'll let Mitch come back in. But no, I think that's a great point. Like, looking at banks traditional banks, hard money, and then you got private investors. With private investors, just individuals with money that are looking to get a better return than right now what they're able to get in traditional means, whether it's a CD at the bank or from stocks and bonds in the equity and debt market there that they can invest in with Wall Street. So that's kind of where you started. But a lot of times we traditionally, as a new investor, private investors isn't even in your head, like because you don't. A lot of times you don't have those relationships up front. I think it's a little different now from when I started. That you have access to individuals. We have Facebook groups, we have local communities, we have meetups where you can meet these individuals. So the banks, a lot of time they're structured and they're regulated, so they have a lot of laws, and they have to have clean books they have to be able to go through and be audited on an annual basis. So a lot of the regulations behind them prevent them from being able to lend on assets that are dilapidated, that need work, and things of that nature. So there you go. Mitch is back. I was just talking about some of what the banks look like, and for its requirements to kind of on the structure side.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I apologize for the technical issues. So to your point, Johnny, banks have rules and regulations, and there are things that they can lend on, things that they can't lend on. Hard money lenders have fewer restrictions. They're not as well regulated. They can lend in situations where banks can't. But they're still, it's important to note that they're still in the business of lending. And then finally, private lenders are private individuals, typically high net worth individuals who have funds to lend. And in many cases, they just like the idea of having somebody else go out there and do all the work, and they can sit back and collect their money, but they're not in the business of lending. They will lend their money, but they're not doing this as a business. They're doing this, it's not their primary thing, right? They happen to have funds, and they can put those funds to work. And that's important because it impacts how you would approach these people. And it also gives you some clues as to when you're being set up. I used to go on Facebook all the time, and I would see these posts from people saying, hey, I'm going to offer you 100% financing, 6% interest. And at that point, I stopped reading because I'm like, this is a scam. There's no legitimate lender who's going to lend you anything 100% financing at 6% interest. And yet I would see on Facebook, I see people commenting, oh, send me the information. Oh, please give me that. And my heart's breaking because I'm like, you people are just saying, basically, please come scam me. Please take my money, because they're going to get scammed. And it's heartbreaking because I know these people need the money. They're the most vulnerable. They're the worst position to lose money, but they're going to lose money. So first and foremost, let me just state clearly, no legitimate lender is going onto Facebook and asking people to reach out to them by promoting way below market rates. The market rate these days for these kinds of deals is about 12 to 15% because there's risk involved. A typical 30-year fixed rate loan, maybe 7, 8, because there's very little risk. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about an investment deal. Maybe the investor knows what they're doing. Maybe they don't. Maybe they have to step in as a lender and foreclose. So there's risk. And with that risk comes greater reward. And that reward is the interest that you're going to pay me. So the profile has to be higher interest than your traditional 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which is 7. So if you see 6, you can pretty much guarantee yourself that they're trying to scam you. So please don't fall for that. So the question is, okay, what do private lenders really look like? How do you really reach out to these people? Well, for the most part, private lenders are not soliciting for business. We're not posting on Facebook or social media, because if we did that, we would get bombarded with tons of people, and we'd spend all our days sifting and sorting through requests for funding. So the way that you approach private lenders is, and I think most of you who are trying to get started will appreciate this, is to be successful at what you're doing. Do some deals, be successful at it, and talk about it. Talk about it on social media. Because we lenders want to see people who are successful and who have a track record. And so nothing is more impressive than saying, hey, I bought this deal for this much. This is what it looked like when I bought it. I did this work. Here's what it looks like now. Here's what I sold it for. Here's how much money I made. And I don't call that bragging. I call that telling your story. I call that creating a narrative that lets the lender go, oh, okay, Bob knows what they're doing. Jane knows what she's doing. And if you don't like doing it on social media, that's fine. At least capture it in what we call an investor profile, a document that lets you tell the story of you as an investor. Because the private lender is trying to figure out who best deserves my funds so they can blow up their business. And a lot of these private lenders used to be investors. In fact, some of them are right now. I got a call yesterday from a lady reached out to me yesterday that I hadn't spoken to in 5 years. And she said, hey, Mitch, I just sold my entire portfolio. I got $500,000. And she actually said this, $500,000 sitting doing nothing. And I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, $500,000 sitting doing nothing. And I want to put it to work doing private loans. This is yesterday. And she used to be a major investor. I've done wholesale deals with her. That was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But my point is, you have a lot of these folks who are reaching a point in their lives where they don't want to do the work. But they know how to do the work and they know how to assess the risk. They've been there before and they love the idea of helping the next generation get their start. So they want to find younger versions of themselves who are trying to make it and dump money on them or pour money on them, provide them with funding so they can blow up and make that investor wealthy while they're making the lender wealthy. So it's a win-win. And so I want people to go into this understanding that the lender is not doing you any favors. The lender needs you as badly as you need the lender. It is a mutually beneficial arrangement. And so you have to approach this from that standpoint. Don't go begging the private lenders. This is a business proposition. Hey, here's what I can do for you, and here's what you can do for me, and we can collectively work on this thing so we can both get paid.
Mitch, I think that brings up a great point. We had one question Leslie asked, suppose you are new to the industry, because I know we have some individuals that are, I would say, really great in their profession, have been professionals, for X amount of years, and they're making a pivot or transition to, I won't say a side hustle, but start an investment business or to actively grow their portfolio. So they may not have that first deal under their belt. What would you say to those type of professionals, decent credit, good credit, but just don't have time actively managing the whole entire process from finding deals, closing them, taking a construction project from beginning to end, and then refinancing or going through whatever the exit strategy is? What would you say to that individual? Did I drop off, or is it Mitch dropped off again?
Yep, I think he's frozen.
If he's back. Okay. No, but I think Leslie brought up a great question. We'll let Miss jump back in and answer that, because I think that's where most of us at. Like, most of us don't come out at 18, 20 years old saying we want to be a real estate investor, that we have some life experiences, we invest in the market, and then we're like, oh, real estate, I've been wanting to do this. Like, okay, now how do I position myself to be lendable? Oh, he's back. All right, I'll let you answer.
Yeah, my apologies. I'm not sure why.
Did you get that question before you cut out?
A Zoom call. So I heard the question, and the way that you can address that, if you don't have the experience, my recommendation is find someone who does have the experience and partner/JV with them. So if you found a great deal, but you don't have the experience, let's say you're doing a fix and flip, you found a great deal, you want to get access to capital, but you don't have the expertise that you need, and you don't have the history. Find someone who does. Partner with them and bring them to your private lender. Say, hey, look, I'm going to be working with Mary. I'm going to be working with Joe. Joe's got 20 years in the business, and we are together going to take down this deal. Can you lend us funding? And that will reduce the anxiety that the lender will have, that you're going to wander out into the desert and never come back, because you have somebody there who knows how this thing works and can help you navigate from start to finish and get yourself paid and also get the lender paid. Because the lender's primary, the terror that every lender has is things don't work out and they got to go after the property. These are asset-based loans, so they don't want your property, right? They want their money so they can go work on the next property. But if things go sideways, all they have to rely on to protect themselves is your property. So they're going to look at the deal that you presented to them, and if it makes sense, then my recommendation is to bring partners along that can help demonstrate to them that you have the team to get things done? It's a great question.
Perfect. To build on that question, would it have to be a formal relationship where that investor or partner needs to be on the LLC, or could it be, hey, I have a coach, I have a mentor that's hands-on? How formal, like for you guys with Home Pride Capital, how formal does that relationship need to be for you guys?
It's a fair question. So if a mentor advises that they're going to be working with, let's say, one of their proteges, that will go a long way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be formal in that case. If it's someone that I'm not as familiar with, we might require something more formal. But the main thing is that we don't want to see our borrowers fail. We want them to succeed because we're trying to build a long-term relationship. And so the biggest risk for any investor is that first deal, because that's when, you're scared, you're nervous, you're not sure how things are going to work out. Once you get past that first deal, you've been through the trial by fire, you understand how things work, and you may not know everything, but you know at least enough to get that you got successfully through to that deal, to the end of that deal. And so the risk for a lender goes down after that first deal, because at least we know that you can do one successfully. But pre-successful deal number one, it's a hard pitch to make. And I tell people the best thing to do, my recommendation is, do that first deal with people who love you. Find friends, find family, but find people who can get you the money to get that first deal done, and then come to me. Then come to a private lender and say, hey, look, I've got this one deal. Document the heck out of it. Here's what it looked like before. Here's what it looked like now. Don't finish the deal and say, oh, I forgot to take photos, because I can't see it. I need to see what you saw when you first walked in versus what it looks like now. You want that wow. You want people to go, wow, you did a really great job on this. So all that stuff needs to be thought of ahead of time, because you don't want to get to the end and realize you didn't document anything. You can definitely get this done either with a formal relationship or just with a more casual relationship, depending on the lender. And I will say up front that every lender is different. So there are no rules and regulations about what lenders can and can't do. It's their money. They can do whatever they want. And the beauty of this is that I tell people there are three primary reasons to do private money. The first is transparency, because it's just a person. It's just Mary. It's just Bob. You can ask them everything you want to ask them, and they'll tell you. It's not like some lenders that I've talked to and some banks that I've talked to, where you get the deal done and then you discover, there's fees. Oh, you're gonna charge me every time I have to take a draw. With a private lender, you can ask all those questions up front and get honest answers. So transparency for me is super important, because again, I started my life as an investor, not as a lender. And so I don't like to have people drop things on me at the last minute. So that's one. The other is speed. We can typically close a private lender deal in 2 weeks. Most banks and hard money lenders, you need a month and a half in some cases. And in some cases, I think, as we all know, some sellers can't wait a month. They're like, look, I need to get this thing closed now, and whoever can close it fastest is going to get the deal. And with private money, it effectively works like cash, because you don't have to go spend this month-long process to get access to the capital. When the lender says yes, they're taking money out of their account. So there's no other rigmarole you have to go through. So speed is the third technical.
And so with the speed, do you still recommend that investors, when they're putting that contract together, that they still keep a financing contingency in there? Or I've seen it both ways.
No, for the folks that we built a relationship, what I typically will tell them to do is, when they're pursuing a deal, before they've gotten it under contract, send me the deal first. And let's take a look at it. Let's underwrite it and make sure that it makes sense. Because if it makes sense, I can pre-pitch it to my lenders. And I can say, hey, look, this is Mary's working on this. If she gets it, it's going to be at this price or close to this price. This is what she thinks of the repairs. Would you fund this? And if they go, yeah, this looks like the kind of deal I would fund, then I go, Mary, go for it. And in some cases, we can start to get lenders on board even before they've gotten the thumbs up from the seller, because I've been in that situation. It's a horrible feeling to have the seller say yes, and now you're not sure how you're going to fund it. So I would much rather people come to us before they start funding stuff, so that we can get them some commitments. But once we commit, we're committing. You're going to get the funding for that deal. Again, that uncertainty is corrosive, and it's unnecessary. If we can't, now the flip side is also true. If we look at your deal and we say we can't fund it, we'll tell you up front, hey, we can't fund this deal. You need to find other resources. And it's not going to take you 3 weeks for us to tell you that. We can typically tell you that in 48 hours, worst case, 72 hours, because real estate moves quickly. And you don't want to be in a situation where you've committed and then you find out your financing falls through, because that's a horrible feeling. But I wanted to circle back and to talk about that third thing. So the first thing was transparency. The second thing was speed. The third thing is, and this is super important, relationship. You don't get a relationship with the bank. You get transactions with the bank. You could do 10 loans with the bank and then go back for the 11th loan, and they're going to treat you just like the first time because they don't know you. Maybe a different loan officer, everything can be different. Hard money, same thing. There's no relationship there because there's no continuity. But Mary is Mary. Mary's going to be Mary for the rest of her life. Bob's going to be Bob, and they're going to remember the deals that they've done with you. And so it gives you an opportunity for them to learn more about you and for you to learn more about them so that you can build this long-term valuable relationship so that when you do come across the whale of a deal, that $1.9 million portfolio that you want to buy, instead of having to go hat in hand borrowing money from strangers, you go back to Bob and Mary and say, hey, Bob, hey, Mary, I got this great deal. I've done 10 deals each with you guys. And they're going to go, wow, it's Johnny. What you got, Johnny? Let's talk about it. And the hurdle that you'd have to typically overcome to get them to understand who you are and what you've done, that's already been taken care of. They're already on your side. They're part of your team, and they want to see you succeed as much as you do. So, that feeling is that's the game changer. Knowing that you have people on the bench waiting for you to bring them deals so they can fund it. That feels like nothing else. Because most people that I talk to are limited not by the number of deals they can find, but by how much money they have access to. And everybody starts out, or a lot of people start out trying to use just the money in their pockets, just the money that they have access to themselves. And that works for a little bit, but eventually you're going to run out of money, of your own money.
Facts. Yeah, that's what all investors, you eventually, once you build your portfolio, you run out of your own money. And that relationship, I've had my current lender, shout out to Hornet Capital, definitely give them kudos. They have been instrumental in my wealth building journey. I got an email this week. They were working on a foreclosure, and they know I'm the Alabama guy in Mobile. And they let me know a couple of weeks ago. They took possession last week and sent the deal over to me like, hey, take a look at it. Let us know if you want it. It's a rental. They had to foreclose, and they'll provide the financing long term if I want it. And so we got to look at it. But they have been Johnny on the spot with extensions, when deals get delayed, with execution, even with refinancing all the way up to a 40 unit. So the thing and doing a bridge loan for 6 months for me. So having a relationship with a lender is paramount. You have to build the relationships. And I've seen it both ways, that, the good and the bad, but having those relationships where you can pick up the phone and call somebody with a deal that can get it done in weeks or days, if necessary, for the right deal and the right relationship, like what Mitch is talking about. Like, to have that in your back pocket, that's a game changer. As a new investor and going in and being, especially in this market where right now days on market are going up, deals are sitting on MLS right now. In most markets, you can go for the right price. And so if you're making offers, if you make 20, 30 offers a month, I'm guaranteeing you're going to at least get somebody that's going to bite. Do your underwriting, make disrespectful offers where you write the offer from day one, where you know you're going to make money, where you know you're going to cash flow, and somebody's going to say yes. But you got to make offers and not make excuses. You got to make more offers than excuses in your head that you keep telling yourself, and get out here. Because right now, Mitch is just telling you he's got a lender right now. And if you don't have a partner or someone that you can go to family and get money, then join a coaching program. That's something that we do with my program, that I work directly with my mentees. I've even taken flights and shown up on job sites and walked the deal with them. We have weekly meetings and kind of go through the deal as they're going through that process. So don't let your limitations hold you back from getting started. Because Mitch just sat here and told you, they got private investors. Someone just has $500K just sitting, burning their pockets, that they're looking to invest. But you have to be able to do the work, find the deal. And then I think that goes to the next one. How do you guys like to receive deals? How do you like to receive the pitch or the information? What's the normal way that you guys like to receive that for potential clients when they have something they think is good?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, I don't know why my internet is flaky. But anyway, so first and foremost, someone asked about a formal pitch deck. Please don't send a formal pitch deck. Nobody's looking through 22 pages of 22 slides of presentation. There's two documents that I urge people to prepare, and you can prepare these now. Number one, this is probably the most important, is what we call an operator profile. It's like a 4-page maybe document, 3-4 pages, and it's basically a resume for your investing business. It's got your picture, it's got your experience, the deals that you've done. Ideally, it's got before and after photos. If you're a rehabber, for example, here's 123 Main Street. Here's what it looked like before. Here's what it looked like after. Here's how much money we made. It tells the story. It's a story of you. It's a story of your real estate investing business. So that investor profile is one of the first things I'm going to ask for, because that is going to communicate to the lender who they're dealing with. They want to see faces. I can't tell you how many people approach lenders and on like say some social media, and I look at their picture, there's no picture. It's either a logo or it's some abstract thing. I'm like, people don't lend money to logos. They're not lending money to your dog or your cat. They want to see your face. They want to see what you look like, just because they want to relate to you. And we're humans, we're visual. We want to see stuff. So show them pictures of you. If you've got a family, show them your family. Show them the properties that you've done. But put all that stuff into the operator profile, 3-4 pages. I have some samples, and I'm happy to talk about what those look like. But that's number one. And then the second is the funding request. The funding request is a 1-page document that boils down what you're looking for, and it lets them quickly determine if this is a deal they can fund. Is it a buy and hold? Is it a fix and flip? How much are you asking for? What do you think is the ARV? All that information can be in one place, and it's one sheet. One quick sheet, because the good private lenders are getting solicited constantly from people who want to present them with opportunities. And no one's going to take the time to sift through 22 pages if 1 page will do. And I guarantee you 1 page will do. So those 2 documents, if I get those 2 documents, then if I'm interested, then I can ask for more stuff. Then I might want to see photos of the interior of the property. Then I might want to see your financials. Then I might want to see more stuff. But just those 2 at least tells me if I have enough to make a decision, thumbs up or not so much, thumbs down. And I'm happy to give you a quick yes or no, because I don't want to waste your time or mine. So, and I'll provide those samples. What I will suggest is, and Johnny, you and I think have talked about this, we have a school community as well. My school community does not teach you how to do real estate investing like REI Genius does. My school community is entirely around financing. It's how operators can get financing and how people who have money can find the operators that they need. And so it is in everybody's best interest in this community to understand how that works. So I actually talk to people and I walk them through how to create an operator profile, how to create a financial request, or a funding request, because it makes everybody's lives easier if we can make that simple. So my offer to your folks in this community is I'm happy to extend the invite into the group for your folks. It's a paid community, but I'll cover the cost because again, it's Johnny Lynum's community for you guys to participate in this community and learn this information. And if you jump in and you just grab the information and run, then I won't be offended. At least you'll know. At least you'll have that information. But I don't think you'll run. I think you'll find that being surrounded by people who are getting private money and who are offering private money is intoxicating. It's hard to resist that. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you want to be
run away from money as a real estate investor?
Exactly right. So I'll make that. We'll talk about the mechanics of that. The community is called UnFundableAF, and it means exactly what you think it means. And the intent is to help people not get scammed and to actually access capital. So we'll talk exactly in that group about how to get the samples. But I want people to be clear on, we're not looking for some fancy formal presentation slide, because that's fine for if you're making a pitch to a hedge fund, they might need that. But this is just Bob. This is just Mary. They don't need all that stuff. And frankly, they don't want all that stuff. They just want a 1-pager that explains what you're trying to ask them for, and they want a little bit of background on you, and they can give you an answer usually within a couple of days, which is what you want.
Yeah, I think we got a couple of my multifamily clients in there that we've gone through the pitch deck creation, and they got the bios and the profiles that's going in looking to bring in the going out there endlessly bringing in the big whales by themselves. So that's where one of those questions came with the big pitch decks. But no, I think the process, especially for the private lenders, having to simplify and repeatable is critical, because it takes a lot of time to put those pitch decks together, and usually it's for a larger asset that's going to be a larger project where you're talking about into the millions. But I think, did we lose Mitch? But I think this is great, and this is the reason I wanted to bring Mitch, because one of the largest barriers to entry is money and having access to money for my clients. And I told Mitch, was like, hey, for the people in my school community, that how can we make the relationship, because we're teaching the fundamentals, how to do great deals, and they have money, and people who want to invest in your success is like, it's a no-brainer. We're bringing these two together. So if you're not in the school community, you need to get in there where you can learn this, and you got access to capital. Now the only thing you need to do is get rid of your excuses and start taking charge and become the best CEO of your last name, as I love to say. Because this is truly awesome. Can you share too, Faye, and maybe provide Faye the operator profile, so we can drop that in the community so people can start working through that, and then we'll kind of put together what the next step looks like. With those that may be looking at nominating deals and things like that. And we already have a deal desk inside the community where we kind of review the deal. So you got everything that you need inside the community to make it happen. And it was cool. One of the things that I just rolled out, that for those that's in the community, like for referrals and things like that, they're actually getting paid 40% commission on like the monthly $97 fee. Like, hey, refer someone, and 40% of that goes to you for people that you bring into the community. So the thing is like, this is a community by us, for us, and everyone in the community is benefiting in so many different ways, from bringing the funding in there with the regular passive income from just the membership, and bringing in like-minded people. That is a win for everybody. So super excited about that. Let's see. Yeah, let's open it up for questions. I see it's 8:40. And I know I have to roll out in about 10-15 minutes for a doctor's appointment. So yeah, let's see if we got any questions online. Anybody live in the studio, just raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to add as well too that, Mitch is talking about like pitching your deal first with the lender, and with the REI Genius too, we have dropped in the comments the link to join the school community. But if you guys are unsure yet whether it's a fit or not, I would highly recommend you get an alignment call with us so we can see if if we're the right group to help you with where you want it to go. And if not, we'll be recommending the next steps for you guys. So yeah, now let's go ahead and bring on our members right here. So if you guys have questions, drop it in the comments too. You got Chris, Earl, Christine.
Chris asks, what are the closing costs associated with the loan? What loan options do you offer, and how many lenders do you have relationships with? Let me answer them in reverse. Well, I answer them in the order that you asked them. Closing costs are depending on the size of the loan. If it's under $100,000, it's a flat $5,000. If it's over $100,000, it's 5%. And people say, wow, that sounds a lot. It sounds like a lot. I just want to be clear on a couple things. One, we like to believe that we provide supreme service. Our goal is to serve our operators and our lenders, and we don't lose either one. They typically stick with us. So don't let that freak you out. We'll talk more about how that can be valuable to you. The loan options, the cool thing about working with private lenders is there are no rules, right? It's completely flexible. It's whatever you and the lender agree to, that's what you can get. So if you need longer time, if you need, we can structure it so that it suits the needs of the operator, because they want you to succeed. And as long as it doesn't hurt them and their ability to earn their interest, they can be very, very flexible. In terms of how many lenders, right now we're looking at about a dozen. We're probably, more important than how many lenders, you probably care about how much capital we're looking at. We're probably looking at about, right now, it's at least about $3 million. in capital. But the challenge with that is that a lot of folks, and you can probably relate to this, they may have $1 million to lend, but they're not going to lend $1 million in the first deal because they don't know you. So they're gonna test you out with a small deal, see how you perform, and if you mess that up, that was your only opportunity. They're never going to lend to you again. But if you do right by them, then they open up their wallets because again, keep in mind that the more money they've got, the more problems they. I know this sounds crazy, but $500,000 sitting idle is not good news. That's horrible news, and that's why she's calling me because she's like, I mean, we can do the math. We can calculate how much you're losing every month on that. That's $5,000 in interest lost every month at 12%. So it is just as imperative upon incumbent upon her to find people like you guys as it is for you to find her. And I am that conduit. So she wants to talk to me because she needs access to you, and you want to talk to me because I have access to people like her. So there's tons of deals like that. And hopefully that helps, Chris. Does that answer your question? Okay, cool. Thanks for asking. Christine asks about, do we fund flips only or do we do long-term lending? Same thing there. Most lenders will start things out short-term because they want to test you out. They may be okay with doing long-term, but they don't know you and you don't know them. So being locked together with you for 2 years when they don't know anything about you is scary. So they might want to do a few 6-month deals and see how you act. If you behave yourself and you demonstrate that you're responsible, they may be able to say, okay, you know what, we're going to set aside this for long-term funding, and we're going to still do some short-term stuff. So it's the beautiful part about this is that it's completely flexible, but you have to build and earn and maintain their trust. Once you get that trust, you're off and running. And the cool thing about folks who have money is they know other folks who have money. So once you get in, they start telling their friends and their colleagues, hey, these people have the ability to get these deals done. And before you know it, you've got people coming to you and saying, hey, what deals have you got? And that's a nice feeling to be. Nice place to be. So, great question, Christine.
100%.
That is, and I think that's the big thing with relationships. Like for me, one of my large limiting beliefs I had was I didn't have access to capital. I didn't grow up rich, and I had a jaded perception about money and people who have money. And you have to have that mental transformation. Like there is so much money out here and wealth out here, and they need investments. They need places to invest. Just like the banks take the money that people put on deposit and invest in real estate and regular mortgages for people who have 30-year notes. These people are looking to become the bank and invest the same type of assets, real estate, which is one of the most best leveraged asset classes out there, especially hedges against inflation. That's why you have so many build to rent communities from these hedge funds, and Wall Street has been buying all these rental properties because long term, 10 years from now, everybody knows a house is going to be worth more than it is today. In 1990, in the year 2000, the houses were more expensive. 2010, you were coming out of a cycle that they had kind of regressed at that period. But guess what? They rebounded, and houses are darn near, triple the price of what they were in 2010 now, 15 years later. So 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if you know that you want wealth and you want money, you want to have freedom, 15 years from now, you should probably be buying some rental property because real estate's going to be more expensive 15 years from now. And that's the thing that we can't be short-sighted. We have to look long-term. Like fixing and flipping is cool, but you got to look at how can I keep some of these assets along the way as well too to build wealth. So you 5 years from now can be a private lender.
And it's also worth pointing out that what we're talking about right now primarily is U.S. stuff. Think, however, of all the people outside of the U.S. who are desperately trying to get into the U.S. market. I talk to these people on a regular basis now that my wife and I are traveling around the world. There are people in fact, I talked to people yesterday from the UK, from Australia, from Israel, from Spain, from all over the world who are desperately trying to shoehorn their way into the U.S. market. And the only way that they're going to do that is by finding people like you guys, like us, investors. And what they really want, private lending is okay, but private lending is the first step. Where they really want to be is joint venture. They'd love to be able to say to, I see Chris on my screen. Chris, I'll just pick on you, Chris. Hey, Chris, I see you're working on some great deals. How about instead of me being your lender, how about if I give you some money, you do the property, you manage it, and we both split the proceeds. So now I'm your partner. But they're not going to do that on the first deal. They may not do that on the first 10 deals. They got to know you pretty well, because now they're climbing into bed. Now it's not a date, it's a marriage, right? So they need to know that you're the right kind of person. And after 10 deals working with you, they kind of get a feel for who you are. And then we can start to move into those kinds of structures. And that's when it gets super interesting. But Johnny's absolutely right. Not only is there a ton of money in the US, think of all the aging baby boomers who are sitting on top of trillions of dollars of 401k and self-directed IRA funds that they have to put to work. And they are terrified of crypto. And they're looking at the stock market going up 1,000 one day and down 1,000 the next day. That scares them. They're like, where do I put my money? Real estate looks really good at those folks. So all that money is going to be flooding into deals like this. So that's domestic. But internationally, you have all of these other countries who still see the US market as the place to be, and they're trying to cram their way in. And the way they do it is by trying to find operators like you guys. And the way they test the waters is do a little private loan. See, that's the date. That's the, out for coffee. Do a private loan or two, see how you operate, see how things work, see if there's a connection. And then if there's a connection, then they can move on to the big stuff. But Johnny's right. The amount of money that's out there is staggering. When I hear people say, oh, I can't find money, I'm like, you're not looking in the right places, or you're not speaking money's language. That's typically a bigger problem. You're not speaking the language of money. But money, there's no shortage at all of money. Anybody who's telling you that there's no money out there is lying to you. There's so much money, it's ridiculous. The challenge is putting yourself in a position where you can receive, you can catch that money. And the way you do that is by doing the things we're talking about here, by putting yourself in the right spot, showing that you can handle the small stuff. If you can't handle the nickels, no one's going to give you the dollars. If you mishandle the nickels, you're never going to get a chance to manage the dollars. So start with the small stuff, and then build those relationships and be known as the person who can deliver. I'm spending, I forget the $500,000 lady. For the last month, I've been dragging around like $400,000, $500,000 apart from her, trying to find people that I can lend it to. And it's not as easy as it sounds, because a lot of people aren't necessarily responsible when it comes to other people's money. And it's a sacred thing. This is someone spent their entire life trying to build this 401k. They're not going to just let you play around with it. This is not playtime. This is serious stuff. And if you're not serious, then we can't work together. So I'm looking for serious operators who are going to behave like this is life or death, because this is life or death for these folks. But if you're that kind of person, the sky is the limit. There's an unlimited supply of money for people like that. If I could find 100 people like that, I could put those funds to work immediately, because that's what they're looking for, and that's what I'm looking for. And that's why I'm talking to people, because they're out there. I know you guys are out there, and I want you to come to me, and I want you to avoid the scammers. I don't want you to get hardened by thinking that everybody's trying to scam you. There are a lot of people out there trying to scam you, but there are legitimate lenders who need to find people like you so that we can put these funds to work. So I'm excited, because these are the kind of questions.
Mitch, you just dropped so. Yeah, if you can't manage nickels, nobody's giving you dimes. I need to put that on a T-shirt, because that's facts. That's facts. But the thing is, you'll never be able to manage dimes if you don't start. If you just sit there with your nickel, your one nickel or a couple pennies or nothing, and think that it has to stay that way, it's like, man, it points me back to the parable in the Bible about the master that gave three servants the talents. Where he gave one, gave the other 2, and then gave one 5. The ones with 5 and 2, he came back a year later, they doubled them. And he was the one that had 1, he just buried it because he didn't want to lose it. He was risk averse. And guess what? He took that 1 and gave it to the one with the 10. Because that's the thing, we have to be a good steward. All of us have the resources. Every investor that I talk to in these mastermind groups that I'm a part of, we all started with one deal. We all started with our first opportunity. And guess what? And we took action. And we didn't have 100% of the information. We didn't have it all figured out, but we had faith. We had faith and confidence in ourselves. We had the knowledge, because guess what? We studied, we showed ourselves approved, and we got out here and took risk and made it happen. But the biggest thing that I tell you, you have to have a community, a resource, have access to mentors. That's where wisdom comes in, where you're not making the same mistakes that other people have had. And that's one of the things that I love with REIG, is that everyone's willing to share. They're sharing their deals with the mistakes that they made. I'm forthcoming with my mistakes that I made. And you shouldn't have to make the same mistakes that anyone in the community or myself have made. because you can tap into our wisdom and 20 years plus of experience. And so I encourage you, if you're looking to do deals, join the community, dive in. We got everything that you need. Mitch is bringing all the money. You just got to bring the deal, and we're going to teach you how to find the deal and how to manage the deal. So I think this is awesome. This has been great. This is definitely a blessing, I think, to a lot of people, those that's ready to take action, that it just takes all the excuses out. Now you gotta step up.
And also, I wanted to mention, Johnny, we are at REI Genius are so honored for Mitch picking our group to our community to work with. So on behalf of REI Genius, we are grateful that you picked our community. You know, that says a lot about the trust. And so yeah, we really appreciate you, backing us up, and all the investors that we have in the group. So you guys that are watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or wherever you're watching, um we've mentioned it already, but real estate can really feel overwhelming, especially when you're just starting out. But having a backing of a strong community such as REIGs and mentor as Johnny Lynum, it changes everything. You get to tap into the experience, the mistakes, everything. You're not alone. You're surrounded by others who want to see you win and support you. Gives you a system that you need, the confidence that you need to take action, avoid the costly mistakes, and move forward faster. So, and most of the time we get to get stuck. We don't know what the next steps are, and that's why we're referring to when we are talking about alignment. We stop comparing about the other people's journey, and you start working on your own, because it's a different one. So you get your alignment. I'll post in the comment section for you guys to schedule your alignment calls, and we are so looking forward to to get you in.
I just want to say I'm grateful to be here to talk to your team, Johnny and Faye. Thank you so much for having me speak. This is what I do. I love talking to investors. I don't know any successful investors who do it on their own. Everybody that I know who's successful in this business has a team, and your ability to take down deals grows so much faster when you have solid performers by your side to help tackle deals. Because every now and then you're going to come across something massive. And you're like, look, I can't do this on my own. And when you know you have a team of people that can help you take it down, everybody wins, everybody benefits. And so, yeah, I would love to work with the folks here in your community and help them get access to the capital that they've got. Again, I'm an investor myself. I'm looking to acquire rental properties myself. I know tons of overseas investors. I say overseas, I'm overseas myself technically, but tons of non-U.S. investors who are looking for deals in the U.S., who are looking for reliable partners that they can work with. And there's no reason why that can't be from people in this community.
All
Thanks,
right.
Mitch.
Well, I think thanks again, Mitch. Everybody, this is wraps up another $1 million coffee hour. Thanks for tapping in. Hey, figure out how you can take action and move out. Let's go. I'm super excited. Retirement ceremony for myself this Friday is going to be a crazy next 5 days. Chris, you and I got to have a conversation, get you going down in Florida. Looking forward to that. And everybody, let's go. And looking forward to connecting and find one thing that you can do to move your investing business forward. Maybe it's look at one in the community when we share that operator profile. Do something
Yes.
towards your business. Complete your operator profile. Take action. Look in your zip code. Define your buy box. Where you want to buy real estate at in your area, or in your surrounding area, whatever market that you want to invest in. But take action. Do something for you today over the next couple of days. And I encourage you to do something for yourself every day with building wealth to continue to move forward and take action. So with that, let's go. Let's make some equity happen. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Yes.
And let's go.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Bye.
Mitch.